Eric, that weapons ban item was actually pulled from the City Council's agenda. One of the reasons that all the activists had to wait until the end of the City Council meeting to have a discussion about it, and it's a discussion which, as it turns out, didn't actually happen. Allie, you guys might remember, I'm going to step out of the way. We showed you this car at 5 o'clock. It had just started to catch fire. The fire department actually came out, already put it out, but then it caught fire again on its own. And one big concern that neighbors have is that the robber got away with the keys that the postman was carrying, which means he can get access to their mail. I'm here on the west shore of the Sacramento River in Redding, where so many had hoped the close proximity to the river may have helped save their homes. But unfortunately, too many are going to be coming home to this. A complete loss. Yeah, we'll tell you, Nikki, they are trying to shut it down. We have already been attacked several times by these protesters. How the Ring technology works is once someone walks into this area in front of his front door, it activates a sensor in the camera, which then can be sent to his phone. And that's how this whole thing was recorded. So if the old bridge staying where it is, the new bridge will go just upriver from that, making it the new I Street Bridge. Now the resort says they were just expecting 3 to 6 inches, but they actually ended up with between 10 to 14. It has a lot of people who are skiing here today saying this is the best conditions they've had all season. Campfire survivors we spoke with say they're glad to have an ally who has a lot of experience in filing cases against PG&E. And a lot of families have been coming here today saying this is part of their Thanksgiving tradition to get a tree from this lot. And they're extremely disappointed to find they're gone. And among the destruction, neighbors tell us they are looking for signs of hope in their neighborhood, one of which they found here is these carrots they say sprouted after the fire has burned through, and they're seeing this as an omen to perhaps one day rebuild here. In Redding tonight, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News. Natalie worked in Davis, but she lived here in Arbuckle. Arbuckle's the type of town where really everybody knows everyone. A lot of people did know Natalie. A lot of people have now gone to the family home to give comfort to her family in this time of grief. And her father really wants everyone to know that she really did die doing what she loved.
She just enjoyed her job. She would come home, she would be beaming.
Jose Merced Corona says his daughter, 22-year-old Natalie Corona, would commute from the family's home in Arbuckle to work patrol in Davis. He says being a cop was always her dream.
She would always call me Brother Cop, and I would tell her, you can't call me Brother Cop because you're not there. You know, you're not there yet. You don't have a right to call me Brother Cop. You're not there yet. And when she graduated from the academy, she says, okay, so now can I call you Brother Cop? I said, yeah.
Natalie Corona grew up in Arbuckle, the oldest of 4 sisters.
She was the greatest big sister that they could have had.
She attended Pierce High School and worked as a lifeguard at the local pool. Her father says being an officer was truly her calling, often having a big heart even while working.
She arrested an individual the other day, and she came home and said, you know, Dad, I had to take her, I had to take this person's bag of cereal, and that was all they had to eat. And so I put $5 in his bag and told him, you know, that was for them to eat when they got out.
The gesture left the suspect in tears.
And I said, well, Natalie, you can do that. I said, but you're going to run into people like that all the time. She says, I know, Dad, but I don't mind it.
Now with her gone, her father says his family has no hate for the man who pulled the trigger.
We're not angry. You know, I mean, we're going to grieve, and the individual's not with us any longer. So, you know, we're very faithful people. I think she died doing what she loved to do. She knew that that was a possibility, and I think she embraced that.
And here at Pierce High School in Arbuckle, they are still on winter break, but we're told many, many teachers knew Natalie, taught her, and they're going to have a very difficult time coming back to work on Monday. Reporting live in Arbuckle tonight, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News. The people that we spoke with tell us they're shocked the president would even suggest something like this, and a lot of them tell us they are still waiting for that FEMA funding.
Front door, this is the living room. We had 2 bedrooms right here. All back there was our master bedroom.
This is what's left of the only home Jason Klump says he's ever known.
In here, one of the closet doors, my grandfather used to measure our height in all the time.
His grandparents left it for his dad, who then left it for him.
How hard is it to see it like this?
Very hard. This is my only home growing up that I knew permanently.
For the time being, Klump and Deanna Drone plan to stay on their property in a trailer But in the long run, they were hoping federal aid would help them rebuild. Its aid, President Trump tweeted he's going to order stop coming to California until the state has proper forest management.
But taking FEMA from families that are trying to recover from this kind of devastation, losing everything they own, I would think that would be the last thing that we should do.
It is unbelievably regrettable that our president has politicized FEMA in such a way that it's a problem for the everyday constituents.
Democratic Assemblywoman Monique Lemon represents Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, where exactly 1 year ago, mudslides in the Thomas Fire burn area claimed the lives of 23 people.
It was mean to do it on a very specific day where communities in California are mourning the loss of so many lives.
Tonight, even Republicans are disagreeing with the president's threats.
Not helpful is my remark.
State Senator James Nielsen represents Paradise. He says now is not the time for partisan politics and that the FEMA aid is crucial.
This community in no way could ever possibly rebuild without help from the state and the federal government.
And today, Klump and Geron feel their lives are being held hostage just so the president can make a political point.
We have no place to live. We have no kitchens to cook food in. It's a very hard situation. I would like him to try to come live this lifestyle and see how he feels about taking FEMA away from himself.
And back out here live, there's still a lot of cleanup to be done here in Paradise. This piece of metal that I'm holding right now, we believe, may have used to have been the tire of this car here behind me. So still a lot of debris around the town and a lot of people not amused with the president's tweet today. Reporting live in Paradise tonight, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News. Well, guys, things are a lot calmer here right now. In fact, we just went inside this post office. They have a lot of the mailmen reporting back to work. They're trying to go back to normal here. But earlier today, a much different scene, and neighbors tell us they were terrified as deputies were clearing the streets. This is the back of a South Sacramento post office. You're seeing the moments as bomb technician robots rendered a suspicious package safe. That package was addressed to U.S. Senator Kamala Harris's Sacramento office.
We have determined that this device was, in fact, a legitimate device, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation has taken over the investigation, and we have now rendered the device safe.
It's just a very scary situation.
Vivian Davis says the day started out normal as she set up her yard sale, but soon she could tell something was wrong.
And all of a sudden we have ATF showing up, and we had the Sheriff's Department showing up, and then we had all the news crews showing up, and I was thinking, this is jacking up my yard sale.
Her daughter-in-law lives behind the post office on 44th Street in South Sacramento. Her grandson plays just a matter of feet from where the package was found.
I mean, he's 3. What does he know? He even walked out a couple times when we were supposed to be locked up. Thank God you told me to put him back in.
Sacramento Sheriff deputies cleared the streets surrounding the post office, telling those who lived within a 300 feet blast radius to shelter indoors. With the help of robots, bomb technicians were soon able to issue the all clear.
And we do believe that the package is related to the nationwide investigation.
Meanwhile, Davis tells us she feels safer knowing that authorities made that arrest in South Florida today.
We don't need this. I mean, we're trying to make a world for my grandkids. And bombing them or sending bombs through the mail, you never know who's going to get one.
And back out here live, things are returning to normal at this post office. Now, the FBI did tell us that the package that they discovered here looked very, very similar on the outside as other packages discovered earlier this week, which were sent to former President Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Reporting live in South Sacramento today, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News. The governor says he has been in communication with PG&E CEO and their board of directors, but he wouldn't get into details on how this latest report's findings might affect the utility company's filing for bankruptcy. Meanwhile, the governor does say that the people who lost their homes in the Tubbs fire, this is going to make things a lot more difficult for them. According to a report released today by CAL FIRE, the 2017 Tubbs fire was caused by private electrical equipment and not by Pacific Gas and Electric power lines.
If you weren't surprised, you would surprise me.
It's a bombshell finding even California Governor Gavin Newsom says he was not expecting.
I think we had all, maybe lazily, forgive me, sort of accepted a narrative, and it was sort of baked in, it seemed to me, in the conversations that I've been having.
In October of 2017, 22 people died. Around 5,600 structures were either destroyed or damaged as the Tubbs fire burned more than 36,000 acres in Sonoma County. Earlier this month, PG&E began filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, mainly because the utility company is concerned it cannot afford the cost of liability from the 2017 North Bay fires and the 2018 Camp Fire. But with responsibility for the Tubbs fire now taken off the company's plate, it's unclear if PG&E will move forward with bankruptcy or not.
That is an open-ended question, and that's a question for PG&E.
Speaking with reporters in front of his office at the Capitol today, Governor Newsom said those who did lose their homes in that fire may still try to place the blame on the utility.
This is a difficult moment, and I imagine for the plaintiff's attorneys, this is not the last you'll hear from them. This does not close out all of these lawsuits.
Meanwhile, Newsom says he believes the CAL FIRE report's findings are accurate.
These are competent people. These are apolitical folks, and so I have all the confidence in the world in their findings. That said, as we listen to points of view, and if there's new evidence that suggests something, I'm not ideological about this, but I have all the confidence in the world.
Now, while PG&E may not have started the Tubbs fire, Governor Newsom was quick to point out that they have been found liable for starting at least 17 other fires in 2017. Reporting live from the state capitol tonight, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News.
My goodness, it was over the moon. It was so wonderful. Oh, I'm glad.
When you lose everything, it's easy to have little to be thankful for.
We lost everything but our dog and our 2 cars, our passports, and our lives.
Trish Davey tells us that's not how she feels.
We are so thankful. We are so thankful.
A lot of people might hear that and say, why?
Well, you know, we have our lives.
Lives she and her husband Bob say they were maybe 10 minutes away from losing. As the campfire burned around their Paradise home, these pictures show the before and after of the house Davey's grandparents owned since the 1960s. The section of Feather River Hospital, where she worked as a chaplain, is also gone.
She said, I ran for my life.
Today, husband, wife, and dog Lollipop came to the Sierra Nevada Brewery.
This is our general buffet area. We've got 3 lines set up.
Where free meals are being served to campfire evacuees.
And they're just ready to just take care of you here.
In the wake of the tragedy, the brewery says it decided to scrap plans for a celebration beer and instead use some of its beer-making equipment for this Thanksgiving meal.
And we cut the top of the kettle off so we can literally drop a basket in the top of the kettle to boil potatoes.
With so many other campfire survivors here, Davey says it's good to again be with a community. She says it doesn't need buildings or material goods.
You find out when you're in this situation, there are things. You find out what's important to you.
To her, it's important to say thanks for the overwhelming show of support.
There aren't words for this. There really aren't.
In the town of Paradise tonight, there is still an evacuation order in effect. People still not allowed back in, but a lot of the campfire survivors that we spoke with say they would like to get back up to see their property, even if there's nothing left, just so the healing process can begin. In Chico tonight, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News.